What's up, martial arts fanatics? Welcome back. As always, I'm Coach Greg, and today I'm going to be doing another Q&A, and today I'm going to be answering the question, can you break down Alex Pereira's leg kicking? Absolutely. So first of all, before I start, I do want to recommend, if you want to see me answer a question on here and do a video on a question that you have, please make sure to go to my website, go to the link in the description below, go to my site and post the request, and I will try to do a video to answer your question. As far as Alex Pereira's leg kicking game, there's a couple things that I want to really emphasize. Probably the most important part of this is the principle projected intention. I've talked about this in my principles. I talk about it in the Nemean fight system. Very, very important part of this. When I do it from southpaw, which is how I generally fight, it's a lot of up here, right? A lot of lead hand, outside foot position, a lot of feinting. All my energy is upward. My head is going upward, my hips are going upward. Everything is leading them towards the threat of an upward strike so that I can catch this lead leg kick. Alex Pereira does something very similar. If you see him fight, it's a lot of high hands, right? Because he likes this very open hand stance that he does to have his inside position, top position, very Muay Thai in his approach here, right? Throwing his punches, getting them very concerned about things coming up. They're concerned about knee strikes coming up. They're concerned about his big roundhouse kick. They're concerned about, of course, that lead hook that he does, leading him to that, right? Throwing that cross to catch that big hook. They're concerned about the punching. And what he does is he sells them on this stuff, getting them concerned about this, and then the leg kick comes below, right? There's no telegraph on it. You'll notice when he does it, he doesn't usually pivot. If he does, it's not much at all. He doesn't do big leg kicks. It's here, pop. Why? You don't have to. The calf is a very delicate muscle. It doesn't take that much. And it doesn't hurt the fact that when he fought at middleweight, he was probably 220, dropping down to fight as middleweight. When you have that much size, it does certainly help when you're kicking somebody smaller. But even without that, it's very powerful. Right? It doesn't take a lot from here, pop. And once you catch that muscle a couple times, it doesn't take a lot to put welts in. Now, there is a trade-off. The more that I pivot, the more power I get, but the more it telegraphs that kick, and the more it takes away my ability to easily recover position. It reduces some of my mobility that takes place after the fact. So usually if I'm in here, right, this is all it takes. Pop. That's all it takes. That's the majority of what allows him to land them so successfully. And because he knows their ability to check is very diminished because he's done so much to sell them on this coming high that they don't see it coming. Everything that takes place in the kick is from here down. His body still remains the same upward. All he's doing is moving his back leg, right? Very difficult to see this. A lot of this, his weight is usually gonna be on his front leg to make it easier to throw this, right? But it's a lot of feinting, a lot of getting him up high and sliding it underneath. No telegraph whatsoever. Because he knows that there's no risk of them defending it, he can put as much power as he wants into it. That's what allows him to be so successful on his leg kicking game. And because a lot of times they're not doing anything to defend it and their foot is planted, because he sold them so high, it makes it very easy for him to be damaging. Because their foot's planted, he's driving through it, he doesn't have to pivot a lot to do this. Now, there's some other things I like to recommend if you're trying to improve your leg kicking game. These are all things that I go into a lot more detail on the Nemean fight system. But some things that you can do, generally I'll give some tips that I like to recommend. First of all, I don't like to throw rear leg kicks when I'm attacking the legs. Most of the time it's because I'm also fighting from southpaw. So from a southpaw stance, I don't want to do as much inside kicking. Outside kicking, I think, for the calf is better. But more importantly, if you look at all your major leg breaks in the UFC, Chris Weidman, Anderson Silva, Conor McGregor, they were all rear leg kicks that clashed with that check. Front leg kicks don't have enough power for that to be as much of an issue. So the only time I throw a rear leg kick is if I've done something to set up first. So for example, if I'm here and he checks and I step down and I catch that rear leg kick, as he's stepping down and no longer able to check because he stepped down into it and he plants, that's when I throw it. I can also throw it as I catch them in movement, right? So if I'm gonna be here, more orthodox, if I can get them as they're coming forward to attack, I catch that leg kick as they're moving forward on me. I can catch them as they move backward. It makes it impossible for them to check. If they're running away, It's hard to check that stuff, right? If they're moving forward to attack, they're planting down on it, making it difficult. Same thing occurs, he throws the Dutchie a lot, which is that lead side hook to the leg kick, right? Once again, you are creating a planted leg and putting power behind it. There's another thing Pereira does really well, forcing them to plant on that leg when he throws it. If their foot is mobile and they're able to swing it out or check it, things like that, or backstep, it's hard to do as much damage when they're not planted on it. You want to catch them as they're planted, and this is something else that Pereira does well, is when he throws it, he feints a little bit, so they kind of dig in to prepare for the feint, or to prepare for the oncoming attack, and when they plant their foot, that's when he does it. That's how you get damage off of it. More than the pivot, more than anything else, it's just catching them while their weight's on that foot. So you sell them on an upward attack, maybe the hook or something like that, and then you catch them. Okay? So I hope that answers your question. Make sure you share with your friends, and thanks for watching.